I have not gone through this at all because I wanted to keep it for the Sunday Night show because I really wanted to do it with you guys here, because this is sort of, I'm hoping, the last interview before Shadowlands goes live, and then I think we're gonna probably get a shit ton more interviews soon. All right, we've got this interview. Blizzard talks delays, balance, bosses, and minority representation. All right, first question. Obviously, Shadowlands was originally due to come out in October, but the deadline was pushed back to November 23. What was that extra time spent on, and why was the decision made? I don't know if Blizzard is ever going to go into like an actual serious answer to this, just because are they really going to admit that, oh, we don't have, we just weren't ready, right? I don't know. Let's see. Johnny Cash. All right, Johnny, love your music, bro. We haven't delayed an expansion since Burning Crusade, so it's obviously not a decision that the team took lightly, not by any measure. I wish you would delay more expansions. But when we were getting closer to when we needed to lock, we weren't quite happy with the polish and the balance. So that was really our impetus for asking for more time, just wanting to make sure that the game was ready. We felt like it simply wasn't. And I can agree, as someone who played the actual beta, since almost the beginning of the beta, it was nowhere near ready. It's still not quite there, but it is actually close enough, right? As far as how we actually spent that time, a considerable amount of it was truly just making sure that we add that additional polish that people expect from a WoW expansion. What are you talking about? Expect from a WoW expansion? Okay, chat. When is the last time that a completely polished World of Warcraft expansion hit the shelves? I'd love to hear. Chat, anyone care to venture a fucking guess as to when was the last time that a fucking WoW expansion didn't completely and utterly break the minute it fucking launched? It's never happened. It's never happened. Blizzard is an amazing company, but they have never been known for their polish. It's never, that's not what they're known for, right? They're usually known for over-promising and over-delivering way back in the day. They'll deliver to most of their promises, but it is always fucking broken, right? So I don't know what the hell he's talking about there, but okay. But one specific thing to touch on would be the Covenant system. There was a lot of feedback, both externally and internally, about the balance of certain Covenant abilities and soulbind traits, or anything kind of related to that power progression. So, there was a lot of tuning here. In the case of one of the Ventir rogue abilities, we rebuilt it entirely because it just wasn't working. The problem with that was that it wasn't even a good ability. Wasn't the Ventir rogue ability just like a copy pasta of an ability that they already sort of fucking had? If I'm not mistaken, it was just like a copy pasta of something else. And then they finally realized, oh, never mind. Clearly people don't want this. We'll just remove this. So it wasn't, like, what are you even talking about? Like rebuilding it because the tuning was off. No, you were lazy. And then you had to go back and actually fix it. But anyways, a couple of weeks ago, there was a change to the soulbind trees that was a result of a lot of feedback. It felt like some of the early traits you were getting weren't quite as exciting. They didn't feel as impactful as others. I love this change, by the way. This is where they sort of flipped the soulbinds around. So you get sort of very cool abilities right off the bat. Then you go through a bit of a stalemate where there's almost nothing cool, and then at the end it ends quite strong. I fucking love this. One of the key things with the Covenant system is we want this to be a really interesting and exciting choice and a difficult choice for people. The problem is that it's not a difficult choice for people. As I covered in my Ian Azicostas interview, they've basically made it so that within about 4 days after switching Covenant, you've basically caught up with in terms of power level, you're basically caught up. Within 2 weeks, you're completely caught up, as if you've never left the Covenant and changed to a new one. I don't know, chat, can I just ask, does that feel like an impactful choice? Don't get me wrong, it's great that it's so easy to change. What I'm nitpicking, and I realize that I am nitpicking here, right? I realize that. What I'm nitpicking is, if you tell me that you want an impactful choice, you want something that's heavy, that's sort of going to be, there's going to be huge downsides, but it's so easy to fucking swap, doesn't that sort of destroy the whole we need this to be an impactful choice? Am I being completely too nitpicky here? Because I feel like if you really wanted this choice to matter, you either lock someone into that choice or you make it very fucking difficult to change, and to hell with all the bullshit that that's going to bring with it, right? But at this point, couldn't they just remove the player power from the Covenants anyways? Because it feels like it would have about the same amount of impact as not having it be divided. At this point, if it's that easy to switch Covenant, do you really still need the impactful choice that the fucking player power is going to bring to it? Because it's not impactful within 3 days. So as long as you change Covenant 3 days before your raid starts, you're good to go. You can be a different Covenant every single raid, depending on what boss you're going to fight, right? That really is it. So personally, I just feel like there is no impact here. It's so easy to swap Covenants that you may as well just have removed the player power. So we reordered a lot of the trees so that okay, we've gone through that. I hate to mention it, but do you think this delay, why do you hate to mention it? You're the media. You fucking love talking about COVID. So don't even come with this, I hate to mention it. You couldn't wait. Literally, second question, COVID. So you didn't hate mentioning COVID. You just needed to figure out how the fuck am I going to mention COVID 30 times in this interview. I think we had a pretty smooth transition to working from home, even though it's more difficult to communicate and there are certain complications that come along with it. But really, the impetus for wanting to spend more time on this game was feedback from the community and feedback we were getting internally. Honestly, we spent a lot of time working on this. We know our players really want an amazing game and we want to deliver it. We had support all the way up. Alright, so he's not really talking about COVID, good on him. With Shadowlands, there's a ton of new lore. This is where I always get very, very fucking excited. Coming to the game, as with any expansion, but playing through the Land of Death, we're also seeing the return of a lot of older characters, some of which, such as Uther, the Lightbringer, we've never actually seen in-game in WoW. How much do you think players have to bone up on the lore behind the game to understand the storyline of Shadowlands? Is that accessible for new players? It's actually something that I almost never think about, right? The lore for a new player that has never stepped in. I just always sort of assume that, of course, they're gonna know what the fuck this is all about. But anyways, on the storytelling side, we take a lot of care when we're doing the world building, especially for something like Shadowlands, to make sure that there's a balance of things. We of course want to make sure that we're doing justice to that deeper lore, to the people that have known Uther for well over a decade at this point, pushing to, and the people that know Kalthazard and all these different characters that have a rich and deep history. But for Shadowlands, we really wanted to balance that to make sure newer players still understand what's going on and can still enjoy all the same experiences. For one thing, that's why you won't see every character that's ever passed away in WoW's history in your journey. There'd just be too much going on to have the clarity that we want in the story. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that argument or with that answer, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that answer, but I do at the same time feel like I don't know if you can really make stories that new players will just instantly understand. I don't know, chat, what do you think? Do you think that's even possible to make a good story that a new player will just instantly understand? I don't think so. I feel like that would be just, that's a stupid dream to try and go for. You could make stories that would sort of still be interesting to follow along with. That you can do. But absolutely, you won't be able to make stories that a new player will just instantly understand. The problem with WoW is the universe is so connected that even if you were to introduce brand new lore, it would go back years to the first time that this lore was really sort of already laid down, right? So I feel like that, I don't know why that would be a focus of theirs. But maybe he just meant just to make the story fun at least. We try to make sure that these stories are crafted in a way such that if you know the greater lore, you're familiar with the characters, then there's a lot of extra content that makes it especially interesting. But nothing is ever created in a way that is exclusionary to a newer player. If you don't know who Uther is at all, the Bastion story still makes perfect sense. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I thought he was saying. even though he could have worded it better, but still. Yeah, you make the story be fun, right? You make the story still be fun, even if you don't exactly know what the fuck is going on there. But you can't make a story where new players will just understand what the fuck is going on, right? It's just never going to happen. That's the reason why we have newer players start playing World of Warcraft in Battle for Azeroth after you do our new Exiles Reach starting experience, to really get some of that shared narrative background, to make sure that when you're stepping into Shadowlands at level 48 or 50, you know some of these characters from your experiences in BFA. You kind of know the context of how the expansion has been set up. I don't know if Battle for Azeroth, like, it will probably explain to you why Sylvanas did what she did, but there's still so much that you wouldn't necessarily understand, right? I think that we've done a really good job of building stories around these characters that are well-known Warcraft franchise characters in Shadowlands, making them believable and fun characters even for somebody that has really no knowledge of what's going on. This I actually don't agree with. Eli, you're wrong. One of the things that you guys almost never do is give enough context when things are happening. For example, when Sylvanas decided to burn Teldrassil, there was no context given, the player had no idea, and if you didn't read the books, you would literally not understand what the fuck was just going on there. Someone was burning a tree, and literally all of the reasons for the tree was just fucking ignored, right? You had to read the books in order to understand why the tree was being burnt. So I don't agree with that argument. What the fuck are you talking about? Even characters who know the lore sometimes look at some of your stories and go, what the fuck is going on here, right? But anyways, we also have the Afterlife video series that supports that story. For Bastion and Uther specifically, that video does a really good job of giving a little bit more background on him. And we've done the same with some of the other zones and characters as well. But we also have comics and books and all these other things that really help to fill in the gaps for people that haven't maybe played the entirety of the game or really experienced the entirety of the franchise over the years. There's really a lot of opportunities and avenues to approach the lore of Warcraft. I do agree with this, and I do sometimes wonder if maybe a better way to approach World of Warcraft, like what we've discussed earlier in the stream, one of the things that I sort of, I guess, lean towards when it comes to how I would prefer World of Warcraft being set up, I would rather Blizzard either embrace the lore fully or let go of it fully. And by that, I don't mean no more lore in the game. I mean, maybe move back to the older style of World of Warcraft where the story in the game was sort of very baseline, and really the books and stuff was where everything sort of happened. So the books was the lore. We could sit and speculate for hours if we knew the lore, but for the game, everything was just sort of to play the game and to do raids and dungeons and PvP and shit like that and collect pets. But the lore wasn't the central focus. If you want the lore to the central focus, you have to fix questing. Questing right now in World of Warcraft just feels... It's one of those examples of just where the goal for World of Warcraft and the implementation of shit in World of Warcraft makes no sense. You have this boring-ass quest style, and then you have this amazing story. It's like fucking trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, effectively. It is very, very deep. There's a lot of characters that maybe people haven't been exposed to, but I think that the characters that we've brought into Shadowlands have been explained well, and they're very central to the story. We picked ones that were really good jumping off points for the story we wanted to tell for people that haven't experienced the game quite as much. I will agree with that. The Shadowlands story feels to flow a lot better. And again, because you're playing a different covenant and every covenant has its own sort of starting off story, that is definitely true. It does feel easier. At the beginning of BFA, we didn't know who we would be fighting at the end of it. That was a move away from some past expansions, when the art box would be who would be facing in the final raid. Is the Jailer with Shadowlands a move towards having a big endgame boss we can set our sights on, or is it going to be more like N'Zoth in BFA, where we don't know until later in the game? So, with all our storytelling in each new game that we release, we're going to make choices specific to the story we want to tell. That seemed like a really good choice with BFA, but it doesn't necessarily set a tone for anything we'll do in the future. In the case of N'Zoth, that surprise ending was the right choice. Surprise ending. Yeah, motherfucker. We called that shit back in Legion already. So, not much of a surprise for fucking anyone. Ellie giggle. Back in Legion already, I said that we're gonna fight N'Zoth in fucking in BFA. Anyone that paid attention to the story knew that it was gonna be old gods everywhere. But anyways, fuck it. Alright, great surprise. BFA, but doesn't necessarily set a tone for anything we'll do in the future. We're making the story as poignant? Am I saying that correctly? Poignant. I don't know how to pronounce that word. And as fun as to experience as possible. The Jailer is absolutely one of the primary antagonists of the expansion. He is a significant person we're going to have to deal with at some point, right? But as far as how that story all comes together, who's ex-boss and why raid, that's something I don't want to spoil because I think all the fun is getting there, and I absolutely agree with it. Poignant. Alright, so it's poignant. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Inglando. Bros, I'm just going to say this. Not my first language. And sometimes people just use words that I don't often hear. I don't know why people want to sound so fucking smart. Stop using big words. Jesus. Well, here's my problem with this. Ian, sort of at the beginning of the beta, right? When the beta first launched, Ian, in an interview, stated that the Jailer will be the last boss of the expansion. Right? This was from Ian Hazzikostas himself. So now it seems like they're almost sort of walking it back. What changed? Something may have changed to sort of maybe take the story in a new direction. I don't think we want to get too serialized in the way we tell stories either, right? We always want to tell the right story and tell it at the right times. Ian lied many times. I don't think this is lying though. So, not necessarily the last raid boss of the expansion. Johnny Cash. We make decisions depending on how things evolve. We have lots of ideas, but we also don't want to set everything in stone one way or the other. I kind of like that. Anansi, how you doing? I kind of do like that, and I do actually agree with that style of storytelling, where you don't sort of shoehorn everything into this one specific story, but you do sort of pick and choose where you want the story to go. I just sometimes wish that they would pick and choose better where the story should go. Alright, so VG asks the following. One of the big features that arrived alongside the pre-patch were the new character customization options. Blizzard has stated that they wanted BAME, I don't know what the fuck that is, to be able to make a character that looks more like them. Now those customization options are live. How have you seen that go down with different communities playing the game? Alright. The response to this has been really, well, I'm assuming this is like the inclusion stuff that they're talking about, and in my opinion, nothing wrong with it, right? It is an RPG game. People want to play an RPG looking either as close to who they are as humanly possible, or maybe as far away from themselves as humanly possible. I, for example, went for the first one. I made an orc because I think it's as close as you can get, unless I play Kultiran, which is like the fat guys, I guess, of World of Warcraft. But still, I feel like that's a good thing, right? I feel like ultimately nothing wrong with this. I also feel like people are just nitpicking for no fucking reason. If you're a black guy or an Asian guy and you want to play a character that kind of looks like you and sort of represents you, I think you should be allowed to do that in an RPG. What came first? The decision to expand customizations for all races, or better representation for BAME individuals and human characters? So the decision really was to make sure that we're trying to create more diverse options for our player base. Personally, yeah, as I said, not really something I can comment on, because, well, I usually don't play humanistic characters in games, right? So most of my characters aren't very human. So yeah, doesn't really fucking bother me in any way, shape, or form. But I'm glad that people have what they have, and that people are happy with it. My personal experience with this is that most of the people that I know who are of color didn't care either way, but that might just be the kind of friends that I surround myself with that isn't necessarily overly sensitive to things like this. So yeah, there is that. Is better implementation for BAME groups? This is very political. I'm not getting into this shit. Do you believe there are any difficulties around class fantasy and covenant abilities? What if the base mobility solution for a Death Knight is to go for the Night Fae covenant and their soul shape ability to help you get around the battlefield, but you don't want to be a Night Fae Death Knight? It doesn't suit your fantasy of the class. Does that inherently limit your class? Yeah, it inherently absolutely fucking does. I mean, that's really a lot of why Covenants are a wider system than just the 2 abilities you receive by joining them. Of course, we're cognizant of those players that are min-maxers who want to be as powerful as possible, that want to top the meters and down the hardest bosses. They're going to seek points of efficiency, absolutely. Yes, the abilities are one part of that puzzle, but they're certainly far from the only one. Actually, I think they are the only one. We're trying to give ourselves as many opportunities as possible to make sure that it's not as simple as, is this ability better than that one? But what are you talking about? That is 100% what it is. One ability is better than another one. There's fuck all you can do to get around that. That is legitimately what it is. I don't know what you're talking about, Johnny. Johnny, what are you talking about? This is really better than that one. That's why we have the soulbind trees and all the conduits you can slot inside them. They still form part of just 100% the fucking Covenant and its abilities. Johnny. Enough of this fucking developer speak, bro. This is bullshit and you fucking know it. You are literally fucking me without giving me a reach around and then pretending as if I asked for it. We're trying to make sure that there are lots of ways that, say, a Death Knight might increase their power. Yes, the Night Fae might offer a strong mobility option in the form of Soul Shape, which is cool, and historically Death Knights aren't as mobile as some other classes, but there are also other options that they might pursue. Johnny, the only other option that they might pursue is Venthyr, and it's in many cases dog shit. My mobility feels really good in one context, but in this other fight... I'm not even going to continue reading this. I'm just going to say the following. Johnny, if you're watching this, right? Stop making a fucking game the way that you think the players should play it and make the game the way that players play it. Christ. How long must we go through this? How long do you as developers want to keep pretending like if we made things where people are going to go, oh, but this boss and these are strength on this, that's going to matter? It doesn't fucking matter. It's about an aggregate. If the Kyrians is better for most of the bosses, people are going to go Kyrian because that's the cookie cutter. If the Venthyr is best for most of the bosses, that's what they're going to go. Stop pretending like people are going to take a weaker option just so that in one boss they can feel somewhat fucking useful because on that one boss they happen to have the right covenant. Stop making games the way that you think people will play the game and start making the game based on how people are actually playing the fucking game. Because I feel like that is the biggest problem in World of Warcraft. Game director Ian Azagosta stated that there's been an acknowledgement within the dev team. By the way, I read this question and it made me very happy. Let's go through it. Within the dev team, that the game has a borrowed power issue. Going from expansion to expansion, leveling up an artifact like weapons in Legion or the Heart of Azeroth in BFA, and then throwing it away at the end of the and feeling powerless again. Aren't Covenant abilities, conduits, soulbinds, and crafted legendaries just more of the same? What do you think, chat? Is it just more of the same? Leave of Legend. Alright, so still borrow power. Let's listen to their answer. I'm going to enjoy this. I mean, there's certainly a power element that we've talked about, and that's going to play a part in the gameplay of Shadowlands. But beyond Shadowlands, there's quite a few things that you'll take along with you. There are so many systems and so many parts of the game itself that are wrapped up in your Covenant choice, whether that's cosmetic or mounts or pets. Am I having a fucking stroke? I think I'm having a stroke. It feels like Eli is now becoming as bad as fucking Johnny here because he was asked about player power and then he goes, but hey, you gotta be able to take the pets and the fucking transmog with you. So, oh, That was not quite the fucking question I asked, right? That was 100% not the question I fucking asked. So, Eli, come on. We know each other better than this, bro. You are not going to pull a fast one on us like this. Whether that's cosmetic commands of faith, all these wonderful things you can collect and take beyond Shadowlands with you, I think there's value beyond the expansion for that reason specifically. Eli is going to try and pull a fast one on us, boys, because Eli is going to pretend like mounts and pets is the same as player power, even though that is not even fucking close to the question that was asked. Eli, round of applause. That is deflection. Fucking 120% deflection. Nothing is hitting this, bro. This guy, the interviewer, he's throwing out questions and Eli is dodging that shit like a fucking pro, bro. He is literally just dancing on the ropes going, oh, nope, not gonna answer that one. Oop, not gonna answer that one. It's like, it's literally, you can see the arrow coming and then it just fucking flips to the side, bro. This Eli is a master. Holy shit. Johnny Cash, can you do better? Part of the reason for wanting to limit covenants to Shadowlands, which players will be enjoying for many months, we know, is that it lets us do more with those systems. The moment that something has to persist forever, we are much more limited in the amount of power we can offer players, the amount of utility we can offer, all those sorts of things. Johnny, I don't agree, because here's the problem with your argument, Johnny. Yes, it limits the amount of power that you can allow in the immediate. It, however, does not limit the amount of power that you can allow over the course of, say, 10 expansions. Because you will continuously be building on top of it. You will be continuously bringing out more things for it, which of course would mean that you're ultimately going to get a better experience at the end of it, and players will not have to lose their power consistently just to start fucking over. It feels like, Johnny, it feels like you don't quite understand the problem that players have. The very reason we don't like these systems is the amount of power that they offer, and then that power gets taken away from us. It is the legitimate equivalent of a guy lying there about to have sex with Kate Beckinsale, and just before it happens, she fucks off. That is what you guys are doing every single expansion. We get so fucking close. We're so happy. We're so powerful. Bam! No longer fucking powerful. My Viagra just ran out. This is miserable. I hate my fucking life. That's what this fucking system is. It seems like you don't understand it, so hopefully that makes sense. Over the years, as we saw with the old talent tree system, it begins to stack up to something that becomes pretty unwieldy. So, letting us say, okay, Azurite items are now gone, we have all this new space we can explore and do cool new things in, and not have to worry about those things confounding each other and fighting for players' attention. But again, why are you consistently trying to create new systems? You don't need an overdeveloped amount of systems in order to make the game a shit ton of fun. You just need 2 or 3 good systems and the game will just be fun. Your games are actually very good, Johnny. Johnny, your games are very good. You guys sort of make a great game and then go, right, how can we fuck it up? That's the problem. We've got this great game. Can we make it less great? And then we implement a bunch of systems. Just stop doing all these systems and the game will be great. And then, of course, Johnny goes into what can only be described as, this is Eli levels of deflection. Not quite as good. Johnny won't be able to dodge all of them bullets, but he does go into a little bit of deflection here. I think actually Torghast is a good example of kind of a microcosm of that, where the power you have only persists for the run you're on. The power you gain in Torghast is extreme, and something we could never do even within the confines of a whole expansion normally. But come on, Johnny. Surely, Torghast in an expansion is not the same thing. Torghast is a feature that is only for an expansion. An expansion is meant to be a part of a greater game. Right, Johnny? I mean, Torghast is a single feature within a single expansion. The expansion is meant to be another cog within a giant game. The problem is if you keep making these expansions as little games on their own, we are going to keep running into these sort of problems. Torghast is literally meant to be a game within the game. It's sort of a mini game in the game. But that's not what expansions are meant to be. They're meant to be a bigger part of the whole. Which I feel like that's a deflection. Might be wrong. But at the end of the day, I understand your point. And as we have in the past with these systems, we're of course open to the idea of letting things persist forward. Why are they always open to the bad ideas? I mean, I would have no problem with covenants being pulled forward. They would have to be changed fundamentally, and we've discussed this before. But why is Blizzard always just open to the bad ideas? Like, whenever someone goes, hey, what about that Master Loot? Nope. No. Oh, what about Alifar? Fuck yeah, that sounds like a system we want in the game. But, I mean, I'm assuming someone at the company goes, but won't that destroy community? Ah, fuck off, Chris. Go sit in the corner. We don't need your sort of negativity around here. Alifar is great. And then they bring it in. And that's great. All right, now we have that. Excuse me, guys. Titan forging, wolf forging, maybe a problem? No. We love the fact that gear means absolutely fuck all in our game. We're not going to change it. Oh, it took us 3 expansions, but we finally changed it. It takes so long for the good ideas to finally, filter through. And by the time they get there, us players that have been saying, hey, you could maybe remove the fucking... We're dead and beaten to a pulp, right? Because there's always someone that likes some stupid fucking idea, right? Like people who say Titan forging, wolf forging was great. I don't blame you or judge you for being stupid, but you need to realize that you're stupid. Anyways, I know you can't live with this ability. All right, so he's talking about the Mage Phoenix abilities that they pulled forward from Legion, saying that there might be things. I don't think that's the same. But anyways, those are always case-by-case discussions based on where the community is. I mean, fuck, the community is so close, dude. So close, you just have to listen. And where we want a class to be. It's not to say that nothing you see in Shadowlands will ever persist beyond it. We're saying all of it isn't going to. We want to make good choices for the health of the game. So if there's an ability that people are really passionate about, and a few years down the line, they're like, oh, if I can't be a Death Knight without Soul Shape, I don't even want to play anymore. We'll have that conversation. What the... Right. I don't know what to fucking say about this, guys. I genuinely have no fucking comeback on this. So, what? No. If I'm gonna be a DK and I don't have Soul Shape, if I don't have the ability to turn into a little blue fox as a fucking Knight of Death, I refuse to play. At that point, can we get them like fucking rainbows to shoot out of their assholes as well? Like that could be an ability. How about they don't raise ghouls? What if they just raise like little fucking dwarfs or some shit? I don't know. Let's make it all good and fucking fluffy. They can raise tree ants. If I'm a DK and I can't raise a tree ant, I refuse to play the game. I'm sorry. But that's like my... What were you fucking talking about, right? It's never gonna happen. It can't happen. That's so fucking far from the lore. It's insane. But yeah, I wish you would be open to the good ideas, Blizzard. Let me know. Whenever you have time for some good ideas, give me a call. I've got loads, bro. Got loads right up here. Due to the expansion delay, the first Mythic Raid Castle Nathria kicks off a lot later this year, on December 15 and 16. I can't help but think, don't you guys feel like they should maybe have released the raid in January and not so close to Christmas? Maybe I'm just being like completely retarded on this, but I just feel like I know there's a lot of people that don't give a fuck about spending time with family, but if you're someone that really does, this is gonna really fuck up your plans, right? Your family wants to do Christmas and you're stuck raiding Heroic and Mythic. I sort of feel like it would have been better if they just pushed it to January. People would have still enjoyed all of Shadowlands. during December. You could play and actually what's better is you could really play at your own pace. You've got 4 fucking weeks to get geared, right? So by the time the raids come out, you've geared, you've leveled a couple of characters, you've had fun, now you're ready for this new adventure, new raids. I feel like that's just a better fucking idea. Now, what I do during holidays, I play WoW. There's many people that do that, but I think the vast majority, if we did a poll right now, and oh my god, we're gonna do a poll. Christmas time. Hold up. Christmas time. Do you play WoW? Fuck fam? Actually, that could be wrong. Maybe someone reads that as, do I fuck my sister? That could be wrong. You shouldn't do that. And if you do that, you should absolutely not admit it on a poll. Oh my god, can I fucking type? What is family? Family time, bro. All right, so Christmas time, do you play WoW? What is family? Family time, bro. Do you want another option in there? Is there another option? Both. Yeah, but you can't really do both. Can you? All right, I'm gonna go bit of both. Jesus. Okay, I'm officially giving up. Typing is hard, bro. Bit of both. All right, and we'll create the poll. I'll link the poll. All right, go, 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 go. Vote on the poll and let me fucking know. All right, let's see the results here. Bit of both seems to be the leader right now. All right, let's get back into the interview. And then I'll probably link that on Twitter as well. I'll fleet it. Fucking fleet, bro. Let me just forget that fleets exist. All right, so that's going to change how the whole race to world first scene operates around the holiday period. It isn't a Blizzard event, but it is a huge part of the game's appeal for many people and brings in a lot of money for content creators, etc. What was the thinking behind launching that raid cycle so close to the holiday period? Was it balancing more the needs of casual players than hardcore raiders? And I mean, when it comes to raiding specifically, I feel like it should almost always be balanced around the hardcore, right? At least when you think about Mythic and scheduling and stuff like that. Because I don't know if whether you launched it in December or whether you launched it in January would really influence the casual versus hardcore player base all that much. Like, I feel like the casual players wouldn't have had much of a downside to it launching in January. But anyways, let's listen to Johnny. Let's listen if Johnny is deflecting again. Just like delaying the expansion itself, these are not easy decisions to make, and they're not ones that the team took lightly. November 23rd is when Shadowlands launches, but the launch of any World of Warcraft expansion is in actuality really an extended event. It's more like a month-long period of all these different things coming online, like raids, like Mythic Plus dungeons, like rated PvP. So, considering all the dates that have to line up and balancing that with our promise that players would be able to enjoy Shadowlands by the end of this year, this felt like the right date to both give us time to bring those things home, but also still make sure that the players can enjoy Shadowlands in a timely manner. That's obviously always a balancing point. As far as ongoing support, I feel like Mythic Plus could absolutely release in December already. Mythic Plus, I don't think is as big of a commitment as raiding is, because you can do Mythic Plus in between, right? You can go hang out with your family for 3-4 hours and then go do some Mythic Plus with your friends. I don't feel like it's as big of a barrier as raiding is. I could be wrong, but I genuinely don't think. I genuinely think that Mythic Plus wouldn't be. Yeah, it would tide people over as well. So I don't see how. I genuinely don't see how this would be such a big problem to just give people something to do for the whole of December, and then January you launch the raid. But anyways, I do think Blizzard, you should look at maybe postponing the raid. I think more people will be happy than unhappy with that move. Enjoy Shadowlands Iron Manor. As far as ongoing support of the game, making sure that we fix any bugs that crop up, that sort of thing. There are people that are taking time off for the holidays, which the team obviously absolutely supports. But there are other people that aren't. This is a unique year in many ways. There are those of us that are not traveling that might usually, so some of us are volunteering, I know I am, to help fix those sorts of issues, because I'm around and I'm just gonna be playing Shadowlands like everyone else. But even if you're not gonna go on holiday, I still think, even if it's just 2 weeks, I still feel like you should get that time off with your family. It's fucking Christmas, bro. I mean, okay, let's say you're not religious. It's a family day, right? You should still at least get 2 weeks to spend with your family, especially if you're married or some shit. So, yeah, I still feel like even if it's a volunteer thing, it should still not even have been necessary. But we release World of Warcraft to the entire world simultaneously these days, which is awesome. I just wish you could do patches simultaneously for the whole world. Why do we not have that yet? Like, can anyone in chat explain this to me? Why do we still not have patches launch at the exact same time for everyone? Like, what in the fuck is going on? Why must I always be the fucking poor boy Andy Twitch streamer that sits there with literally no content while everyone in America has content? I fucking hate it. I would rather test, quite frankly, than not have the patches whenever whenever everyone else has it, so that I can stream and actually have fun while I'm playing the new patch. But anyways, so there are those players in NA or EU that have that time off and are excited to be able to enjoy Shadowlands. But there are players in other parts of the world where it's not necessarily a week that has anything significant going on outside of Shadowlands. It's just trying to balance all of those things. What are you talking about? The whole world celebrates Christmas. I don't want to hear anything else that would spoil all of my hopes, my dreams, and my fantasies. Everyone celebrates Christmas worldwide. I don't care where the fuck you're from. And if you're not, you should start doing it. It's fun. With that said, however, I'm very, very disappointed that he didn't even mention South Africa, because we fucking celebrate Christmas as well. But no, just in an EU. According to them, South Africa has fuck all happening during that week. In fact, we have 2 months off for Christmas. It's just trying to balance all of those things and make sure that everyone has time to come out and we have time to support it. We wanted to make sure that the game is where it needed to be, so we felt like it was the right choice here. It's not an easy decision, but we'll of course do absolutely everything we can to make sure it's a smooth experience for everybody. And I'm sure that you will. I'm sure that you will. I just still think that you should look into maybe postponing that raid launch. So let's hear it. What's going on? What do you guys think of this?